to the velocity mode here, and again, there's that telltale circulation. Let me circle it here for you. It's where we see the reds and the greens coming together. We are looking at not precipitation here, but we're looking at the kind of the wind fields within the storm. So we see the reds, which indicate the particles, the wind that's blowing away from the radar site, and the radar site's located in Bern in Albany County. The green indicating the wind that's blowing towards the radar site. So that is the couplet. It is just very much on Garnet Lake right now. So if the storm is producing a tornado, it is in the vicinity of Garnet Lake, due west of Thurman, and moving in the direction of Thurman at about 25 to 30 miles per hour. So if you're just joining CBS 6, we're now in what will be somewhat extended storm coverage, tracking the storm across Warren County with fairly tight circulation. Tornado warning in effect until 9:30. It's for the red polygon shaded area that you see there. That is the warning information. Again, the storm is moving off to the east or slightly north of due east at about 25 to 30 miles per hour. So again, run another storm track. Again, if you're just tuning in, this is a tornado warned storm up in Warren County. It is basically over Garnet Lake right now, moving to Thurman at about 9:01, the Glen at 9:08, Warrensburg at 9:16, Bolton at 9:27, North Bolton at 9:30. And that's with a forward motion of about 30 miles per hour. Weather Service says it's 25, but these storms have generally been moving a little bit more quickly through the course of the day. Now, we do have another cell down in here. This has now just been warned from the National Weather Service in Hamilton County. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning in effect here with tornado possible. Tornado possible because this storm also is a supercell, and that means it's got a rotating updraft. Right now, the circulation not quite as tight as the circulation in the Warren County storm. So we'll flip over to our velocity mode and we'll do kind of an inspection on that. Very, very broad, but again, telltale sign, just like we're seeing with the storm just to its north and east. There's your rotational area. This is the rotation. So again, we're looking at the red indicating wind blowing away from the Albany radar, green wind blowing towards. This is a broad circulation. And again, with the radar being so far to the south, we're not actually seeing what's happening perhaps close to the ground. We're seeing something that's happening a little bit elevated in the atmosphere, and we're seeing a circulation that's strong enough that in past cases has gone on to potentially produce a tornado. This again is a severe thunderstorm warning with tornado possible. We'll do a storm track from the strongest part of the storm. Again, this is lifting off slightly north of due east at about 25 to 30 miles per hour. So in this case, Upper Benson under the gun at 8:52, Benson 8:57, Hope at 9:02, West Day at 9:19. Day at 9:25 for this storm. Again, there is potential for a tornado with this one as well, although the circulation is not quite as tight as the storm a little bit further north. But it does have that telltale hook echo. More important storm again up here in Warren County. We are seeing more lightning strikes with this. Actually, we just got the latest radar scan in. Doesn't look quite as good as it did about 5 minutes ago, but the velocity couplet is still there and it's still quite strong. So again, that is right over the Garnet Lake area. That's where the center of rotation is right now. If the storm is producing a tornado, it is producing it very close to Garnet Lake. If it's not producing a tornado, it very well could be producing straight line damaging wind, which would have really the same impact as a tornado in these particular cases. So again, that is the circulation area. We're watching it right over Garnet Lake. This is in Warren County. It looks like we've got one of our technical issues solved, so you can actually see me right now, which is probably a good thing. Again, looking at the wind blowing away from the radar site, the wind blowing towards the radar site. There is our circulation right there over Garnet Lake. Here is Thurman, to put it in perspective, in Warren County, and the storm is generally moving off in the direction of Thurman. So a damaging wind, a potential tornado with this, with the tornado warning effect from the National Weather Service. So back over to the reflectivity scan. Here's the animation again, moving to the east. Again, it is moving a little bit north of due east, so kind of following more the northern edge of the warning polygon and not so much the southern edge of the warning polygon. Warrensburg is more on the southern edge, and it looks like this cell will in fact pass north of Warrensburg. We'll come very close to Thurman and then get up into the Glen in Warren County, coming up probably within about the next 20 minutes or so. And again, a lot of lightning strikes with that, so that indicates a really robust supercell thunderstorm. The one further south also with kind of a hook echo. Now, I want to look at the storms further west, not because they're severe, but because there's been a lot of rain across portions of Hamilton and Herkimer counties already, and we've got additional bands of what what will be torrential downpours sliding across the southern Adirondacks and eventually developing into the Mohawk Valley as well. And with the rainfall that's already accumulated up in here, the threat for flooding is going to continue to increase. There's been some flooding across northern Herkimer and Hamilton counties with warnings in effect, but we may see that extending a little bit further south. So on top of the severe weather aspect here, we also have the potential for some flooding. Now, notice the big storms that are a little bit further south down here into Otsego County. We had a tornado warning in effect, but these storms have since merged. But these are producing some heavy rainfall here and a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for really much of Otsego County just west of Worcester. And that's in effect until 9 o'clock tonight, but may be extended a little bit further east. So these storms getting very close to coming into portions of Montgomery and Schoharie County. So the potential is certainly there for some strong damaging wind. We are getting a lot of lightning strikes with some of these storms here as well. So Montgomery County, Schoharie County, you're kind of next on the list with this broken line of severe storms coming at us from the west. But again, we'll take you back up to Warren County. This is the primary reason why we are in extended severe weather coverage right now, and that is due to this tornado warning that has been issued by the National Weather Service. So Garnet Lake, that's where the circulation is, heading in the direction of Thurman right now. Tornado warning in effect until 9:30. So if you're just joining CBS 6, this is the warning polygon up here across Warren County. There's Warrensburg. To put it in perspective, you are actually in the polygon, but that cell is going to pass north of Warrensburg. It will clip Thurman. The Glen is up in this area. So heading off in this direction, generally communities on the northern edge of the polygon here, where the circulation is most pronounced, heading off in this direction. And that's where the greatest threat is. And again, you can see a lot of lightning strikes, and anytime we see a big flare-up of lightning strikes, it means we have a storm that is very intense, if not in the process of intensifying. So we'll go back over to our velocity display because this is the best for forecasting where the storm is going to go and storm track off of it. The radar colors flipped there because I kind of moved the image and we actually went to a different radar site, likely the Burlington radar site, but we are now on the Albany radar site here, and we'll run the storm track from Garnet Lake to the east-northeast. The storm has now moved east, anywhere from 25 to 30 miles per hour. Over Garnet Lake right now, tornado warned storm. Thurman at 9:04, the Glen at 9:12, Warrensburg at 9:20, Bolton at 9:31, and Rockhurst at 9:36. Again, if the circulation holds together, and that is the area of circulation here, which again is fairly broad, but because this area is far from the radar site, we're looking at an elevated circulation. We're not necessarily looking at what is on the ground. So this is what we would term a radar indicated tornado warned storm. We don't have ground spot or confirmation that anything has actually happened in terms of severe weather with the cell, but we do have the indication certainly on radar of the rotation. You can just see the National Weather Service updating the warning polygon to kind of shrink it because the cell has moved a little bit farther east. So again, it's getting very close to Thurman right now. So if you're in Thurman up to the Glen, tornado safe place is where you should be for about the next 15 to 20 minutes as the storm rolls through. A basement, if you don't have a basement, it's an interior bathroom or closet on the lowest floor of the building that you're in, and that is the safest place. So the whole goal here is to kind of put yourself between as many walls and things as possible, and certainly away from windows should there be winds strong enough to cause any flying debris. And that is always a possibility with a tornado, even a weak tornado that touches down very briefly. You can still have very strong winds, and you can get these pockets of enhanced wind damage. So that is potentially what we are looking at with this particular cell up in Warren County right now. So that's the tornado warned storm. The one farther south also rotating, a tornado possible with this. So we'll take another look at this one, give you the warning information. This is for Hamilton County. It does clip extreme northern Fulton County. Severe thunderstorm warning with tornado possible. This is in effect until 9:15. And again, you kind of get a sense here. There is some rotation. This is the area of rotation. It's literally just north of Benson. There's Hope. The whole cell is moving off to the east, just to the south of Wells, and this also moving up in the direction of far northwestern Saratoga County into southwestern Warren County around Bakertown. Now, this storm is not producing as much lightning as the Warren County storm, so that's an indication that perhaps it's not as strong. That's a good thing, but still, let's clear that for you. We'll go back over to the velocity scan and we'll show you very broad but very distinct area of circulation here. No question about it. So another storm track just to update you in case you're joining us here on CBS 6. This moving east-northeast at, again, about 25, 30 miles per hour. So this cell which again has a severe thunderstorm with tornado possible warning on it. Goes up into Hope at 9:03, West Day at 9:19, Day at 9:25, and Stony Creek at 9:38. And there again is the circulation here. I've got part of it covered up by the storm track. Storm track's kind of the same color as the outbound velocities, but this is what we're looking at in terms of diagnosis, and it's right in there. That's your area of rotation, and again, it is fairly broad. We can't really see close to the ground because this area is fairly far from the Albany radar site. But that is a pretty good indicator here of, at the very least, the potential for damaging winds. So you can see how close and really right over the Hope area, lifting off in this direction. So that is going to clip far northwestern Saratoga County and likely get up into the Bakertown area in southwestern Warren County. Again, passing south of Wells, but you're likely in the rain and maybe getting some thunder and lightning, although, again, we're not seeing nearly as many lightning strikes with this storm, but there are a few just to the north and northeast of Wells. And the one up here in Warren County is still more of a prolific lightning producer, so we'll get an update on that with this tornado warning continuing. Put the polygon back up. Here's the warning information until 9:30 this evening. Or if the storm cell weakens some, National Weather Service will drop it. But at this point, tornado warning continues until 9:30. So back over to the velocity display, and we'll do another storm track here. Doesn't look as good, so that's definitely a good sign. It's a little bit more ragged here. It's not as tight as it was. Not that it was particularly tight to begin with, again, because we're looking somewhat high up into the atmosphere. But we kind of like to see this as an indicator that maybe the rotation, at least for now, perhaps is cycling down. And we very often will see these things kind of cycle, so they'll go up and down. And we've kind of seen that with the storms across central and western New York, which have been prolific in terms of rotation with multiple tornado warnings earlier in the day today. So there's the updated track. Thurman, 9:04, the Glen at 9:13, Riverbank at 9:28, Bolton at 9:32, and North Bolton at 9:35. There's our area of rotation, again, just to the west of Thurman, coming into Thurman right now and heading off in this general direction. So this is a tornado-warned storm. National Weather Service in Albany putting out that tornado warning until 9:30 in the evening up here in Warren County. More conventional display looking like this. That's the one cell, and there's the cell following it to the south. And then again, we have these additional cells producing heavy rainfall coming into western Hamilton, southern parts of Herkimer County. So these potentially will go on to produce some localized flooding across these southern Adirondacks coming up over the next couple of hours. And then we've got the strong storms down here in Otsego County. Fortunately, the warning has now expired, and Binghamton has not reissued at this point. But these are, well, they're pretty sizable storms, and they have had some rotation. Here's the animation, so you can kind of get a sense that this is lifting off to the east-northeast. That's Montgomery County. There's Cobleskill and Schoharie County. This is Delaware County down in here. So storms riding up the I-88 corridor, and they are producing an awful lot of lightning here. So it would not surprise me if we saw some pulsing up with these and the potential for some damaging wind. We had a supercell embedded within this, but there's been a lot of storm mergers here, so it looks a little bit unorganized right now. But again, the potential as this lifts up into Montgomery County, Mohawk Valley, not only will we get heavy rain, but the potential is there for some damaging wind and, of course, some frequent lightning as those storms lift off to the north. We'll kind of go forward here. So let me show you the instant Doppler 6 just to kind of give you perspective as to where this action is versus the capital region, which has been very, very quiet. Bennington County, Berkshire County down into Greene, Columbia, Ulster, Dutchess counties. We've been quiet all day. The atmosphere heavily capped, so storms which tried to form earlier just kind of got squelched. So this is the main action, and that continues to kind of lift off to the east. And it's still going to be probably a couple of hours before we get anything into the capital region. And as we get deeper into the evening, we kind of lose some of the energy in the atmosphere, and that should allow these storms to start weakening, at least to some extent. But they still could produce some localized heavy rainfall, and there's still maybe a wind threat. We know the tornado watch just before coming on the air has actually been extended until 11 o'clock at night for Otsego and Delaware counties. I would suspect that the watch will continue for the area that's been under a watch until about 11 o'clock tonight, areas from the capital region north and west, because we still have quite a few thunderstorms to actually talk about, and they are finally getting closer to us. That's the tornado warning storm, Warren County, and that's the storm with a severe thunderstorm warning, tornado possible, and that's in the far southeastern portion of Hamilton County, so clipping northwest Saratoga and southwest Warren counties. Those are the most concerning storms that we have on the radar right now. So back to that, and we'll kind of get an update on what is going on here across the north. Tornado warning continues. National Weather Service has not dropped it, so we'll take you back up to the Thurman area here. again, does not look as good. So there are some signals this storm may actually be spinning down just a little bit. Velocity display not quite as tight as it was. Go to regular velocity here. This is storm relative velocity. Again, it is kind of messy. So that's something we absolutely like to see. That's the area of rotation, a little bit weaker now, but it is over Thurman. So severe weather threat now very high for Thurman. If not a tornado, we've got the potential for damaging wind here. Hail's not been a big issue with these storms. Supercells, rotating thunderstorms, supercells sometimes can produce large hail, but our atmosphere has just been so warm that a lot of that ice has just been kind of melting. So not a big threat here. So Thurman, the Glen, maybe just south of the Glen. There's Route 9. Here's the Northway. Just to the east of Warrensburg. So eventually, in the next probably 20, 25 minutes, this storm will be crossing the Northway between Warrensburg and Riverbank. And there's Route 9 there. It gets there a little bit sooner. So we'll see the potential for damaging wind getting moved a little bit further east as the storm continues to track. So let's do an animation here. This is over the last hour. This is the loop of the radar here. Again, not looking as good. The hook isn't quite as well defined. Still the rotation, though. So maybe some weakening with this storm, which is definitely a good thing. But still, that tornado warning continues at least for another couple of minutes. We're looking at a little bit after 9 o'clock at this hour, 9:03, in fact, on the camera clock. And this warning does go until 9:30, although it does look like the storm's actually going to outrun the polygon area here. So we're likely going to see this either being dropped or possibly even extended a little bit further east, a little bit deeper into Warren County. Lake George, at least the northern tip of Lake George, not too far from this, but it is heading off to the east-northeast. So maybe a threat as we get up towards Ticonderoga a little bit later in the evening. So that's the one storm. There's the second storm. This one's got a curl to it for sure. Back to the velocity display here, and there's our rotation area. This actually looks a little bit healthier than the northern storm. So we still have the warning with tornado possible. That's the rotation area here. So it is essentially right over Hope. So the potential is there for damaging wind in progress at Hope right now, if not a possible tornado. Again, it's fairly broad rotation, and that is lifting off to the east-northeast. So there's northwestern Saratoga County here. This would be probably just north and west of Day. This, of course, is the northern tip, the northern portions of the Great Sacandaga Lake, passing well north of Northampton here as it goes up into Saratoga County. So that is certainly a storm that's concerning as well. We'll see if that warning gets extended a little bit farther east. It is possible. We'll do a storm track on this just to give you the update as things have moved a little bit to the east from about Hope, tracking east-northeast at about 30 miles an hour or so. There are your towns. Hope right now, 9:05. West Day at 9:24. Day at 9:29. Stony Creek at 9:42. And Lake Luzerne, if this holds together, at 9:47. So that, again, is the southern storm that is also being warned with the circulation on it and a potential for a tornado. Storms are rotating a little bit more here across northern areas versus the south because we're actually pretty close to a warm front that's kind of stalled up in here. And anytime you get close to a front like that, you can enhance the low-level turning of the wind. And that's what we've been seeing, especially with a lot of these North Country storms. And that was very much expected in the forecast from yesterday, that we'd have much of the action north and west of the capital region through a good chunk of the day, and then later in the evening and through the overnight period, we'd see storms coming in from the west. But again, the deeper into the evening we should see some weakening with this, but still potential is there for additional downpours and storms, fairly widespread here across the southern Adirondacks. That certainly could lead to some flooding issues over the next couple of hours. But there's our tornado warned storm. There's the storm over Hope with the rotation right now, and that storm also with a fairly high probability of producing at least damaging wind. Tornado possible. We'll see if that warning gets extended east. It's going to have to happen fairly soon because that storm's about ready to kind of move out of the warning polygon area, as is this one here. So I think within the next couple of minutes, we're going to see some kind of a change to the advisories up here across the north. And there we go. Well, the tornado warning has just been dropped, and that is because the storm has weakened. So we'll check the velocity one more time. And yeah, although we still have a circulation here, right over Thurman, it is pretty ragged. not as strong, not as distinct as it looked, even 10, 15 minutes ago. So the weakening trend with this northern storm does continue, and that is definitely a good thing. Severe thunderstorm warning, though, does continue for the area, and again, for the southern storm, severe thunderstorm warning does continue as well. So watch out northwest Saratoga and southwest Warren counties. Big lines of downpours and storms now into Herkimer, western Hamilton County. So again, flood threat with that, just to reiterate, and then further south, we've got clusters of strong storms coming through Otsego County as well. So these are entering now far southwestern Montgomery County, will be affecting portions of western Schoharie County, coming across northern Delaware County over about the next 30 to 45 minutes. So things getting a little bit more active for us for sure. One more check on live instant Doppler 6 showing the action is still west of the capital region, but it is most certainly heading off to the east. All right, with the tornado warning now dropped for that Warren County storm, I'm going to take a break right now. I'll continue to analyze things, and we'll come back, especially if any additional tornado warnings are issued, with additional updates throughout the night. Right now, we return you to programming in progress.